Friend, tell me this. If a storm was coming and the crew started voting on which rope to pull, would you feel safe? Today I'll show you why our cities often steer that way, and how to pick a true navigator in a sea of shouters. I'm Plato. Walk with me. Think about your feeds, your workplace, your town hall. Loud opinions surge, applause rises and falls, and the people you most need often look useless. Here's our question today. Why do those who truly know how to steer a city appear unhelpful, while performers win the wheel? When I say philosopher, I mean a steady lover of what's true, someone who fixes their mind on what doesn't change and measures life by that. The crowd, meanwhile, educates by cheers and jeers. Notice the tension. Truth asks for patience. Applause rewards speed. Work with one image, the ship. Picture a strong ship owner, wealthy, generous, slightly deaf, a bit short-sighted. That is the public, powerful, not expert. Around him, sailors brawl to steer. None has studied navigation, yet each insists he deserves the helm. Some drug the owner with flattery, others swear steering cannot be taught. And there, apart, stands the true pilot, watching seasons, stars, winds, currents. He knows the way to harbor. What name does he get? Stargazer, useless. Now translate it. The owner is the many. The quarreling sailors are office seekers. The true navigator is the lover of truth, the one who fixes on stable patterns, the stars of public life, before setting a course. The lesson cuts. In a city that prizes noise over knowledge, the best pilot seems idle because he will not fight for the wheel. He does not beg to govern. Rule is a craft, and the governed ought to seek the governor who knows, as the sick seek a physician. Ask yourself now, in your own circle, who is reading the stars, principles and long-term realities, while others clutch at the rudder? And second, do you mistake refusal to flatter for lack of ability? Keep those two close. They separate the navigator from the noisemaker and show why the crowd so often calls wisdom useless. But there is another edge to the blade. The crowd not only ignores true pilots, it trains young souls to love the fight. Uproars, praise, punishment. These shape character faster than any tutor. And when the multitude sets the syllabus, sellers of clever talk simply sell what the crowd buys. Let's open that problem, how good natures get bent, and why philosophy herself gets a rotten reputation. Start with the rarest plant. A soul that loves truth, remembers well, is courageous, self-controlled and large-minded. Aim that desire at learning, and the lower appetites quiet down. The person becomes temperate almost by accident. But here comes the trap. The same gifts draw danger. Beauty, wealth, praise, connections. They swarm around this promising youth. Flatterers crown him early. He learns to like applause more than reality. Once that happens, he becomes easy prey for those who treat public opinion like a giant beast. They watch what it likes, call that good, and build careers feeding it. That, my friend, is the sophist. Not a lover of truth, but a trainer of tastes. He studies the crowd's moods more than justice itself. Meanwhile, philosophy gets blamed. People point to the noisy imitators who rushed in when the true lovers turned away, and say, "Look, monsters or useless dreamers?" The best natures, seeing the madness, sometimes withdraw completely. And we also make a mistake with timing. We hand sharp, ambitious youths the weapon of refutation too early. They discover how to pull arguments apart and start tearing everything, customs, laws, even the good, treating contradiction like a sport. They grow lawless in mind, not because truth is bad, but because the soul's eye was turned too fast and without training. So put the pieces together. The The crowd's power to praise and punish is the great school. Sophists sell it back to us as wisdom. Gifted natures are both our hope and our danger. Without right nurture, the best become the worst. And premature dialectic turns curiosity into cynicism. If we stop here, we end in despair. No pilots, only fights. But we're not stopping here. There is a better order that makes the navigator visible again and disarms the crowd's worst habits. So, if the many educate by uproar, sophists sell applause, and bright youths burn their fingers on arguments, what can we change? Not human nature, but sequence and selection. Notice this turn. We don't plant new eyes. We turn existing sight toward stable things and test it slowly, so it can actually steer. Here's the key. The governed should go to the governor who knows, not force the wise to beg for rule. A city must seek navigators, not prize fighters. How? 3 elements. First, selection. Choose natures that love truth and can endure tests, pleasure, pain, danger, and hard study. Make them show steadiness when praised and when ignored. Second, timing. Let the body be trained young. Let mathematics wake the mind to stable patterns. Keep dialectic, the art of asking and answering with reasons, until maturity. Introduce it too early and you breed playful demolition. Bring it after 30 and it becomes search, not sport. Third, service and return. After study, send them back into real offices, logistics, defense, budgets, to be tried in the cave's dust. Only then, later in life, allow the long gaze on first principles, so that when they steer, they're seeing by a better sun. Distinguish 2 types clearly. The philosopher fixes on what is and lets that measure opinion. The sophist fixes on opinion and calls it what is. If you keep that distinction alive and order education accordingly, the stargazer finally looks like what he is, the only one who can find the harbor. If I had to distill this for you, first, notice the ship. Noise makes pilots look useless. Knowledge still knows the stars. Second, learn to tell lovers of truth from trainers of taste. Who changes their view when reality demands it? Who just chases applause? Third, protect the sequence. Math early, dialectic later, with real-world trials between. For the next day, try this small practice. Before one decision, work or home, ask, am I steering by applause or by a star? Name the star, a principle you won't trade for likes. Then act by it once. If you lead others, design one safeguard this week, a waiting period before big decisions, or a training gate that tests judgment under praise and under blame. You have your star for today. Keep it. Next, we'll watch Regimes Decay, step by step, and learn to spot the early cracks. Thank you for walking with me, friend.